Commander Xylos-Tetra of the Shadow-Glass Syndicate was currently experiencing profound failure of a heuristic threat assessment protocols. The forest, a complex ecosystem of photosynthetic megastructures, had reached a state of maximum entropy in the velvet silence. Beneath the canopy, a fractal arrangement of leaves that pooled shadows like spilled printer toner, sat the human. He was a low-resolution blotch of mammalian flesh, huddled over a campfire that functioned as a localized source of electromagnetic radiation in the visible spectrum. With a slow, rhythmic deliberation that suggested a deep familiarity with the Newtonian physics of meat rotation, he turned a blackened spit. 12 apex predators, bioengineered for high-stakes kinetic engagements, stood as static objects in the gloom, their bioluminescent stripes pulsing with the erratic frequency of a corrupted data stream. Human, Xylos-Tetra vocalized, the sound cutting through the silence like a poly-optimized algorithm. You have been aware of our tactical encirclement for a standard hour, yet your heart rate remains suspiciously within the resting range. The human did not exhibit a startled response. His movements remained fluid and low latency, as if he were operating within a pre-rendered simulation of the current event. You are the Vorthe's goal, he murmured, the firelight highlighting the topographical features of his facial structure and casting long, mathematically improbable shadows behind him. Specialized in optical camouflage, infrared perception, and the structural failure of starship hulls via chitinous appendages. He looked up, and the alignment of his 2 binocular sensors against her 6-camera array created a significant social tension. I am Cassian. I have successfully converted this local biomass into a palatable protein source. Would you care to engage in a caloric exchange? Xylos-Tetra felt her secondary heart execute a jagged, non-standard beat. In a galaxy governed by the prisoner's dilemma, this was an unexpected cooperative move. You are aware of our mission parameters, she queried. Presumably a non-consensual termination, Cassian replied. The ridge-mounted beacon has been broadcasting my GPS coordinates into the local cluster for 3 solar cycles. It wasn't exactly a stealth deployment. A wave of informational unease propagated through the syndicate. They were masters of low observability operations, yet they suddenly felt like their firewalls had been breached. Then why do you not execute a standard evasive maneuver? Xylos-Tetra demanded. The evolutionary architecture of this universe is built upon the chase-escape cycle. Cassian masticated his meal, his jaw moving with the slow, methodical grind of an industrial rock crusher. Would a change in spatial coordinates alter the eventual outcome? He asked. Of course, she asserted. The hunt is a total system. The neurochemical surge, the peak adrenaline, the moment the prey's predictive modeling finally reaches 0. Cassian nodded, his cranium casting a bobbing, low-poly silhouette against a nearby trunk. Ah, therein lies a fundamental error in your anthropological observations. We are not the fugitive elements in this scenario, he stated, his voice dropping into a frequency range usually reserved for tectonic shifts. We are the persistence hunters. Xylos-Tetra's fur stood up in a jagged ridge, a classic physiological response to perceived high-risk stimuli. You? With your low-density integument and those inefficient, omnivorous teeth. Cassian leaned forward, the fire illuminating a smile that lacked any discernible warmth. Consider the historical data. My ancestors, in the early beta testing phase of our species, tracked megafauna 10 times their mass, biological tanks with ivory-piercing weapons. Do you know the specific exploit they used to down them? The squad narrow deformation, drawn in by the sheer gravity of his narrative. They walked, Cassian stated, a steady, constant velocity. They tracked the target through high-noon thermal peaks and midnight troughs. Humans possess an advanced cooling system called sweating. The megafauna could outrun us in a short-term sprint, but it couldn't outprocess the waste heat generated by the sun. Eventually, he continued, the fire reflected in his pupils like high-intensity LEDs. The target would experience a catastrophic thermal shutdown, its biological systems failing from the sheer effort of existence while we remained at a constant vector. And there would be the humans, appearing over the horizon, a slow, inevitable wave of persistence. Xylos-Tetra felt a chill in her firmware. That is, a persistence, she managed to transmit. Cassian's smile widened, though his eyes remained as unreadable as encrypted code. Worries, we are social persistence hunters. A single unit is a tactical variable. A collective is a planetary scale event. We optimize our home planet by deleting every rival predator, and then, in a paradoxical display of guilt, attempted to restore the backups from ancient DNA samples. He rose with a slow, telescopic unfolding of limbs. You ask why I do not run? It is because I am operating with a more complete dataset than you. What data? Crix's voice was a thin, high-pitched signal, vibrating with interference. Cassian brushed the particulate matter from his trousers with a gesture of high-born nonchalance. You have been tracking this unit for 3 days. I have been logging your telemetry for 4. The atmospheric pressure in the clearing seemed to spike. Xylos-Tetra expanded her sensory input, rescanning the environment. The campfire was not an accidental heat source. It was a focal point of a multi-domain trap. The arboreal structures bore subtle markers, snare trigger points and calculated kill zones, marking a complex geometry of tactical superiority.